Hey everyone, welcome to Recuv Hub. Come on in, we got friends inside. Alright, let's do it, guys. Alright, welcome back to Recuv Hub. We finally made it. I know you've missed us. Today we've got a special guest on. Tyrone here. It's good to have you, bro.
Thanks for having me too.
Me.
Oh, John, yeah, of course. We're always happy to have you, buddy. So where are you from, bro?
Detroit.
Detroit?
Yeah, obviously, you know.
Repping your colors?
Yeah, Detroit, Michigan, 7 Mile West Side.
A1A, Detroit Avenue. Like Vanilla Ice.
I think he's too young to know what that.
You don't know Vanilla Ice?
Shit
I
is.
heard of him before.
You don't know A1A Detroit Avenue? No? You don't even know it either?
Where is that at?
Shit. No, I'm just saying it was on Vanilla Ice. Like, whatever.
I know who Vanilla Ice
Like,
is.
come on.
I know who he is. Ice
Damn, dude, I must be old. What brought you out here anyway? Like,
So, I kept doing the same shit over and over again, and it wasn't working. So I came out here for rehab originally, and I stayed because my life started to change. So
damn, what was like your growing up like? Were you in a bad area? Or?
Yeah, so growing up, like I said, the west side of Detroit, to me, it didn't seem bad, but because it was just a normal for me. So when I moved to Arizona in 2012, I noticed like, damn, how I was living was like fucked up compared to.
So your parents moved out here? Or what?
Yeah.
Like everybody moved out here in 2012?
My parents and my 2 little sisters came out.
So they live out here in Prescott or what?
No, they stay in Phoenix.
Okay.
So I've been in Phoenix. I was living in Phoenix for 6.5 years before I came to Prescott.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I've been out here, a year and a half now.
So Phoenix was pretty bad too then, huh?
Yeah, that's really, so it was weird. So it's like in Detroit, like I said, it was the norm. So I wasn't really into drugs too heavy in Detroit. I was more just into the lifestyle in Detroit. It was a lot of weed smoke, but the pills and like the fentanyl, that wasn't a thing for me in Detroit. And just a lot of running around with my friends, breaking in houses.
How old are you?
I'm 26. I'll be 26 this year.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe you weren't probably old enough like when you were in Detroit to even like hit that age of like.
I moved.
I'm sure the drugs were there.
26 is a fair.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
just saying in 2012.
Yeah.
Like how old were you back then?
I was 18 when
you
I
were
moved.
18. So dude,
yeah.
it probably would have just went that same direction
For
regardless.
sure, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
be in prison or dead.
Yeah.
The route that I was going, and in a way, I'm grateful for my addiction because it gave me a chance to see how bad things could get, and then now seeing how good, my life is turning around. So,
How long you been sober now?
a little over a year.
Oh, you got a year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm coming up on mine. He just got his on Saturday. His
Okay,
year.
congratulations.
It's cool to see it finally coming around because I know I was stuck in it for like almost 10 years or so.
Okay.
How long were you running and gunning for?
Running, if I include from like when I started getting high, even though it was just weed, 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, the pills kicked in at about when I was probably like 20. Well, okay, so let me get a little deeper. Moved to Phoenix. I went to go get my wisdom teeth pulled, and
Per?
yeah, and they gave me Vicodin,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
what they
fell in
usually
love.
give you. Yeah.
Like the Vicodin is what just sparked it.
That was the first time I had pills too.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got addicted too.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's why I lean so much on the program of the disease part of it, because that just cut it on. Like, I was addicted to weed, but moving to Phoenix, I didn't know where to get weed, and go get my wisdom teeth pulled. First time ever taking a Vicodin, and I just got so warm and fuzzy inside, like it just turned something on, and that went into finding a bag full of pills in my parents' closet, in some little box like my dad had, and my dad is a barber, so I'm a barber too. But my dad is a barber, and in the barber shop, there's a lot of different, transactions going on. So I'm pretty sure that that's where that came from. I don't even think he knew that they was there. It was probably like 100, the yellow narcos, I think they were.
Yeah, those are the 10s.
Yeah, the 10s. Yeah, I found 100 of those. Found them, and I looked them up on the little pill identifier, and I was like, oh shit. And that just gradually like progress from that point.
Dude, I used to do that too. Like where you like look on your phone,
Yeah.
you're like, I wonder what pill this is. And you
Yeah.
just type in the letters on the side,
I think
and
we all did
you're
that.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that would fuck you up or not. Like,
You're hoping it
like-
would when you type it in. You're
Yeah,
hoping
yeah,
it would
yeah.
be some codone or
Exactly, yeah.
diazepine or something
Damn, dude,
you're hoping it's something
Yeah.
good, but
Google that shit.
Yeah, and that was just my thing. And I guess to backtrack a little bit, when I got the prescription, it tell you, take one every 6 hours or something like that. And in that moment, I would remember taking two, because I'm like, oh, no, I ain't never even done it before. And I just knew, okay, at the time I did. Looking back, that's when it all started. I remember the first time I ended up taking one of the little yellow pills, I threw up.
yeah.
And it didn't stop me though. I kept on going. So, yeah, it's deep.
Yeah, I remember after I got my wisdom teeth, I thought, they were just like Tylenol or ibuprofen. It's like, oh, here's for pain. I didn't know what it was all about.
Yeah.
I remember taking it. I was in like a freshman in high school, and I was just sitting there looking at the fan spinning. I'm stuck to the bed. I felt like I was just sinking further and further into the bed, and I thought I was good to go see a movie that night and everything. I saw blood and shit in my mouth, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how long did the pills go for?
That when I found
Like when you started taking pills, when you graduated to I'm gonna do this full time,
so okay, I probably those yellow narcos probably lasted about 3 months because I didn't do it on a daily basis, and I was too scared to take all of them because I thought he didn't notice. So it would be periods, it'd be months that I wouldn't do pills, but it kicked in. I would say 2014 or 15. I think I just turned 21 and I started working at this job. I was working in a warehouse, and everything you want is at the warehouse. So that's when it went full fledged.
Like a warehouse for.
It was a Staples warehouse. Yeah.
Okay.
So you just knew connections to get whatever
People,
you wanted.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Everybody had their own little hustles going on in there. So, yeah, it definitely. And then we all work together. So, dude will front me 10 of them because we get paid. We all get paid Friday. So,
And nothing makes the day go by quicker.
Man, it was, in the moment, I was like, it was great. And then I feel like maybe 6 months, 6 to 9 months, that's when I started,
So
realizing.
that's where you get pills at now, Staples?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a spot
I'm
to
just
go.
saying, Phoenix, go to Staples, get your pills.
The plug is Staples.
Right.
We're gonna get sued.
That's where it really kicked off at, and just different people doing it. That's when I realized so many people did it, and then that's when I experienced withdrawals, and I just kept on going. And my life got shitty, after that point,
And how long did you do this for?
Till 2018.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so from 2014 to 2018, it was a damn near everyday thing.
You got any brothers and sisters?
I got 2 little sisters.
Yeah. They ever get into anything or?
No,
not
I
really?
mean they smoke a little weed and stuff, but
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. They both over 18 now, so they doing pretty good. I got one little sister that's back in Michigan in college, and then another little sister that's about to graduate high school. So
Cool.
yeah, and I try to, and this is a big reason why I do this today, is because I got family members and friends back home that's doing, drinking lean and popping perks all day and think it's cool because they hear it in the music, but nah, it should ruin your life if you let it. you know?
Yeah.
So what program did you go through up here anyway?
Reflections, recovery.
Reflections.
Yeah. Got out of there, went back to Phoenix, which wasn't a good idea. Relapsed a month after leaving, and came back February 5th, 2019. So in a total of 8 months, I feel like, of treatment, of just a reminder, from the first time. And then the second time I went through treatment, I just took full advantage of it. Instead of doing what they asked me to do, I more so did what I knew I needed to do to stay sober after treatment. Cause that's where it really counted.
So where did you find out that you were almost rock bottom? What was it?
So I guess if I think about it, where I'm from, a dope fiend ain't a good thing. You know what I'm saying? We sell dope. We don't use it. And I just more and more became a dope fiend. I was one. You know what I'm saying? I am a dope fiend. But what I'm getting at, that's when I started noticing my bottom. It was I am becoming what I was afraid of, or looked so far away from for so long. And yeah, that's when I was like, okay, it's something. I got to do something. And I tried all these different ways of, I'm gonna just smoke weed, or I'm gonna go do an IOP program, and none of that worked. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just stuck with pills. You never got into like heroin or anything?
no, never done. I got into fentanyl because of the pills.
That's
what
new
I'm
hot
saying.
thing with kids. I mean, I can't believe heroin's actually a step down from anything.
Yeah, so
because
I
Were they like
passed-
pills or something like that? Fentanyl pills?
Yeah, it was fentanyl pills, like
Jeez.
fake 30s, little inbox 30s was my thing. And I even used to tell myself like, I never do a 30. Like that won't. If I get to 30s, I'm quit. I'm not doing this shit no more. But that's before I understood what addiction was. So I did those for about six months maybe altogether. And then I came. That's when I knew I had to go to treatment.
I heard that like the fentanyl that's pressed, I guess it comes from the cartel or something, that they don't even know how much is in each one.
No.
So it's like you get it and you don't know if it's like a tiny little bit. And even a tiny little bit, if you never had opiates before, that shit can kill you.
And that's a sad thing too. Like we don't even care, dude. We'll take that risk. We just want to get fucked up.
Yeah, you
or
have
whatever.
to.
And it's like, how far are you gonna go? You'll go straight to the needle. Like
Exactly.
it will end there no matter what. Like
And that was what I was I was afraid of that. I didn't want to get to that point. I knew that was the next thing. It was a time where I picked up some pills from my dealer, and he had pulled out some black. And he's like, "You want?" He's like, "Nah." I was like, "Nah." In my head, it's crazy because in my head, I probably would have did it if he didn't have the pills that day. But
That's
like,
usually how they get you. Though.
Yeah,
They go,
for sure.
I'm out of pills, but what I do have is
Yeah.
this. And then you're hurting so bad that you
Yeah.
finally take a little bit of it. And then
And then
you
it's a
realize
little
it's
cheaper.
cheaper. Yeah. And it hits harder. And you're like, oh, it's worth it. It's a
Yeah.
investment. It's a good deal.
Yeah, for sure. And
Business mind.
that definitely that situation definitely presented itself, and I'm pretty
Did
grateful.
you have any like close calls like in your body where you felt like maybe I took too much? Like have you ever had those moments like holy shit, like
Nah.
where it kicked in and it was just like strong and you were like scared to fall asleep or anything like that?
No, I can't say that because I never did a whole pill. I was so like,
Cautious about it.
yeah, because I knew that about fentanyl. So I would cut my pills into four pieces and do a little bit at a time throughout the day because I knew that, and crazy part, one of those pieces could have had all the fentanyl and it still killed me. But I had people around me that was doing, that was going through overdoses and seizures and stuff. So I was always kind of aware, even in my addiction, that I didn't.
Like a safe drug addict.
If that's a
Well,
thing,
you're cautious about like you don't want to go overboard. You're always thinking like, oh, I'm gonna quit. So it's like, why go
Yeah.
fully into it? Because I remember the old Roxy's. This is like back before they were putting fentanyl in it. This is like actual prescription. Like I started off with those 30s too, and I remember just taking a piece of it, and I'd be passed out in the bathroom. And then it got to where real quick I was like, I needed like 4 pills to knock me out, So
Yep.
it's just like you gotta watch yourself because you know how powerful it is, even just like that little piece of it.
Yeah, for sure. And that was another part of my bottom was when my parents, I was living in my parents' house, like, and I'm just falling asleep in random places because Xanax was a big part of my addiction too.
Yep, me
So
too, man.
I was mixing the two and saying
Did
crazy
you ever
shit.
black out with the Xanax?
For
or-
sure.
Yeah, for sure. You
Well,
can't.
I don't
can't
know.
not.
I just know because of this guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't blacked out at strip clubs, woke up broke, and drove all my friends home and wake up not even realizing how we got home, and then they telling me like, yeah,
You did all this and this, and you're swearing that you didn't do it. You could take a polygraph test, a lie detector about stuff that people say that I did on when I was on Xanax, and I would have passed it.
Yeah.
Because you don't remember anything. I think it's the
Man.
worst drug out of all of them.
I did some crazy shit. It was a point where I would go off on people ready to fight all the time. I remember stealing my mom's gun to go and confront some chick about a EBT card because she tried to steal my ex-girlfriend's money. So I took the gun, drove all the way to their house, banging on their door with just some wild shit. And only reason I can remember is because somebody telling me. what I did. I can remember bits and pieces of it, but it was just like that took me to a place that I'm not that person.
No.
Only on that.
Yeah.
I done lost jobs. I done lost plenty of jobs off of from benzos.
What made you think you like? What was your relapse about? Basically,
after you went home, a month
from
out of treatment.
Oh,
like how did that happen?
So
And, like, where did you fall short?
the whole time in treatment, I was still having reservations. It's my first time in treatment, first time knowing what addiction really is and the disease part of it. And I'm thinking like, I can still smoke weed, I can still drink, if it's on occasions and stuff. And it took me back out. I smoked some weed for like a month. I was drinking every now and then. I've never really been too big into drinking. And my ex-girlfriend, or my girlfriend at the time, her sister had just had a baby. And she had some little, like 5 milligram oxycodones and left them on the couch one day as I was leaving out for work. And I told myself, like, just leave out, lock the door behind me, because I couldn't get back in. I was at her house. And nope, took one, and it was just on.
Yep.
2 days later, I'm taking the rest of the bottle, and they normies. They don't know, nothing about what I'm dealing with. They just like, yeah, shit. The sister was giving me a couple, like, not knowing, how deep it was. But yeah, and a week into that, I was calling my dealer back.
Yeah, you think like, oh, I was sober for this long, like I chose to not use this many days, so I found this. You find a pill or whatever, and you take it. You go, well, I could take this. You justify it, and you say
For
like,
sure.
I can take it because I'll take it this day, but then tomorrow I will choose to not take it like I did the other days, and that's where everyone fucks up.
That's exactly where my head was at. I was like, yeah, I can just do one, and no.
Did reflections, like, what did they teach you that like held to you? Like what have you learned right now?
The biggest thing is taking suggestions. When I got back and I really started taking those suggestions, that's when my life started to change. I got deep into my steps. Put in, the third step is something big to me. Giving all my power. Giving my self will up to God. And I'm not religious or anything, but it's just, good orderly direction for me. And once I started following that, that's when my life changed. So service work is something big that Reflections taught me. Fellowship is a huge one because like I got like real brotherhood out here now. In Phoenix it was so spread out, didn't really know too many people. Back home it was, I had that, but I got taken away from that by moving to Phoenix in the first place. So it's like out here in Prescott, I can't go nowhere without seeing somebody I know. And that mean a lot to me. Being in my neighborhood in Detroit, it was a square mile radius of everybody knowing each other. And I missed that. And I think what really like made my addiction take off was the loneliness piece. Like I can admit it now that I was lonely moving to Phoenix, not knowing nobody, and I just tried to fill that hole with the pills.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that void that, even if we start doing alcohol or weed again, it's not good enough. We'll just go back to, what the best form of our alcoholism was that we found, which was opiates and benzos, and that's the way it was for me. And I stayed out here too. I thought after I got done with treatment that I would be cured and then I could go home. What I had to do was give myself little steps, like not just dive back into the deep end after I got out. Like, you get your car and you can go wherever you want. You get a job, you start getting money, your cell phone, you start basically going back to your old town, seeing how you're doing for a few days, come back here. And then now, we all have about a year or so. And I did the same thing when I got out of treatment too, is I just went right back to that old cage. Eventually, you'll get caught with something because you're not surrounded by the community like that we have here.
Back in Phoenix, it's a sober community out there, but it's so spread out compared to Prescott is.
And it's hit or miss too. It's
for sure.
They're just running it, like they're in and out like all the time, so it's hard to find that.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing like I learned this time around was to learn from my past mistakes and to surround myself by the winners, around the winners.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I could easily go and hang out with the guys that's in and out of treatment all day, and just need a place to sleep for 4 months. But I started paying more attention to the guys with time and like watching what they do and how they move, and learning like, yeah, this shit don't make me perfect, but like I can find myself today now,
You still go down to Phoenix?
Yeah, my parents still live there. I just got back today. That's why I've been, yeah. So
All over the place.
my time management is terrible right now. I just started a new job, but yeah. So I just.
So how is it when you go back?
I can only stay for so long.
Yeah, for like what, a day or two?
A day or two, yeah.
That's it?
Because even it's crazy. I was just talking about how I was down there yesterday working, and the air, like I could smell like certain areas I go, it smell like, damn, I remember riding through here going to pick up, or I remember riding and smoking a blunt driving down this street. You know what I'm saying?
I just went through that too. I went back to Vegas, where I'm from, and my girlfriend's mom was so afraid of me with PTSD because I stayed in there, used in there, got arrested in there, had a lot of legal issues, and just scared the crap out of her. She actually put up gates on her doors to where like I couldn't come in. Now I've progressed so much through my recovery to where I'm allowed back in to stay the night there, and I was still with them, but my girlfriend had to leave to go to work randomly for a few days. So I was alone again in the same house that I was, have those same memories from. I'd like go in to take a piss in the bathroom, and I remember like where certain spots I had it, and I'd be looking at it, and I'm like, man, it didn't feel great, but I'm glad I'm in the spot I'm in now, because like I never thought I'd get to that point, but it's still always a work in progress.
It's like a relieving feeling, like coming back up here. Huh?
For sure,
You're
yeah.
just like, shit.
Hell yeah, because I don't even feel like that going back to Detroit, because I didn't do any pills or nothing like that. Like, I go back home, and I get a sense of like love when I go back home, because like I said, leaving Detroit originally, like I got lonely. So every time I go back home, I feel good being around my family. But Phoenix, that loneliness kicked right in, and everything that came with it. Like, it's times I go to my mom's house, and I think it was like probably like 2 years ago, I lost a pill in the bathroom, and I walk in that bathroom to this day and still think like, damn, I wonder if that's in here somewhere still. Like, it's weird,
Yeah, on Xanax, it's the worst, man. Like you'll hide drugs from yourself, or so you don't take all of them.
Yeah.
And then like you wake up and you can't remember anything, and then you're like, but I know that there's something here, and then you'll tear the whole house apart, flip everything upside down. When you finally find it, you're like, I found you, buddy. I would never leave you. Like,
yeah.
And like, yeah, when you come up on a pill again, it's just like, oh, it's so weird that it's like a long lost friend. I do not miss that.
I know, like it's like it got control over you.
Yeah.
Like, I was in a situation before I came to treatment, and I was cleaning up my room one day, not looking for nothing. I was cleaning up my room, and the Xanax, one of the Hawks, fell out like a pants pocket. I got so happy. I was like, but in my head, I'm like, damn, I should flush it down the toilet. Nope.
You did the right thing.
Like meth, dude. Like in my garage, like my buddy would come over and he'd smoke, and like there would be like, I knew he dropped like meth somewhere, and I'd run out. I would search for 16 hours. The next morning I'd wake up, like I wouldn't even wake up. It would just be, I'd look at my phone, it'd be 4:00 in the morning, and I was searching all night, and I scratched so hard like on like the concrete, like trying to find shit, that my nails were bleeding, dude. I scraped all my nails off. That's the kind of shit
I bet you were smoking shit that you didn't even know for sure if it was meth or not.
You already know that.
Yo, it's funny you say that, because one
dude,
time...
I smoked fucking hair and whatever it was.
I don't know if this was like... One day, I'm like going through it, crazy withdrawals, and I'm looking... I'm thinking I dropped a piece of Xanax at one of my old apartments. So I'm going all through the carpet. I don't know if it was drywall or like a piece of like white bird shit, but I know I popped it in my mouth, and like the mental sensation.
You calm down.
I calmed down thinking, and I'm pretty sure that's not even what that was. But I know I definitely ate something that was not.
The problem with that is like there's a few times like I actually found some stuff. So then when that happens again, you go, oh, I know I can find it again. This time I remember like digging my hands into my pockets on my sweatshirt and like writing right in like the corners where like the seams are fused at. I found something like, what the hell is that? Pulled out as a little piece of heroin. I was so sick, and I was like, thank you, God. I thanked God for finding that little piece.
I get it. Yeah,
and
man.
then with Xanax too, I'd find them in the carpet and everything. So then when that time would come, I would search for it to like all day, all night, and you no one could calm you down. You wouldn't even hear anything. You'd just be so focused in on that. I am so glad I don't have to deal with that today,
tell me about it. Yes,
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I definitely love not I don't have no substance or no drug dealer having control over my life today, and that's a great feeling, you know.
Which we thought we'd never have that again.
Nah, I didn't even.
I just remember going, God, I'm so fucked.
So you still have friends down in Phoenix that you still see time to time or anything like that, or you try to stay away?
Not too many people I dealt with was getting high. I had one friend who was getting high with me, but I don't talk to him. Like, it ain't no bad blood between us. It's just I'm just on a whole different, I'm somewhere else in life right now.
Yeah.
And I still see him time to time through like Facebook and stuff, and he seemed to be doing okay, but it just bring back too many, not so good memories.
Yeah, like you're living in your old skin, like trying to be something. Like I had to, even friends that I knew that weren't getting high or or alcoholics or anything, I kind of branched off from them too. Like I don't know why. Maybe it was because something about how when I was in my addiction, and they say stuff like, oh, when you're going through the hard stuff, you know who your friends are. They kind of disassociated themselves from me. So now it's like, now that I'm good, you'd think when you're in your addiction, like, oh, I'll fix it and then we'll all be good again and we'll be friends again. But now it's just kind of like, that was an old chapter of my life.
Yeah.
For sure. It's no bad blood. It's just comes down to like that you're doing new shit and you live somewhere else and you got new opportunities. You got a good group of people around you that are supportive and probably way better friends to you than you've had in a very, very long time. And you're all after the same thing, like doing the best for everyone else and doing good for yourself for probably the first time in a decade or so.
And I got a couple, like I got my brothers back home like in Detroit that's gonna be there forever, you know what I'm saying? Like these is guys who I done known 10 years plus who I wasn't in that lifestyle with them. And I got a couple homeboys in Phoenix who I still keep in touch with, heavy, but they also wasn't in the lifestyle that I was on for real. So like I can still be around those guys, but people who I was like getting high with, like or like doing crazy shit with, I don't really associate with them too much no more, cause this ain't no good for me.
No, yeah, I mean there's no bad blood. It's just you can't fuck around with your sobriety anymore, It's
and I try to and the guys who I do still mess with, like they understand, they know what I'm doing, and they wouldn't even like push any of that on me. They wouldn't even, it took a little time for some people to understand it, like, damn, bro, you can't even take a drink, and I'm just like, nah, and when I'm with them, it ain't no pressure to do nothing, that I ain't trying to do.
That's crazy that you're getting it at such a young age, compared to like I'm 41 now, and I was drinking all the way from 20 to 40, and then meth took me down like at the very end. But like for you at your age to get it now, to be like you can't, because if you have a drink, it's over.
So like and for me, I was able to understand how addiction worked. You know what I'm saying? The allergy of addiction, knowing any little taste of something is gonna spark that back up. And then a lot of reason why I'm even sober today is because it's so big in the music to talk about, all the drugs and stuff, and it's pushing these young guys to think it's cool. And if they see another young guy from the hood like being able to still be myself, but just a better version of myself, and not have to go out and pop all these pills and drink lean and smoke weed all day and be okay, like, I feel like it'll inspire somebody one day, some young dude coming up.
Yeah,
so
the music got me into the drugs too, or at least to where I felt like it was acceptable for me, because everyone that I idolized too was like, talking about pills constantly in the last decade or so. And then now dudes are actually dying from it. a lot of people in music that I loved. They're dead now, and it's all because of the pills. So I'm glad it's finally starting to get a bad rap, and people are actually going to learn from this, hopefully.
Well, and then they've all been through recovery and stuff like that. Because I was the same way with like Jackass, dude. Like I grew up on those guys,
Right.
and then now like you look at the flip side of it, it's
Yep.
like they got all these people like into addiction in that way of like, dude, we want that party life, we want all that shit, and then you see Steve-O, Brandon Novak, all the other guys.
Bam
Margera is still struggling to this day. But
the
like
other
to see all
side-
those guys and look up to all of those guys, like that's what the life I wanted, just get fucking wasted every day.
Right.
And now I'm seeing the flip side of it, of like what actually happened. Like Steve-O almost took his life. Bam is pretty much there. Like Brandon Novak, like there's no way he should be alive today.
And I also like to pay attention to like the other guys who didn't make it. You know what I'm saying, to it, and it's like that. And that's what it take for like the awareness to start coming up more. It's what I noticed. Like who was it just died? He ain't paying attention. Juice WRLD, I think.
Yeah, Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
And
See, and it was like his song came on the other day, and I was just like, damn, well, I forgot how to go, but something about like drugs don't break, some wild shit. Like he was like glorifying it, and it's like you got the little young kids listening to that, and then a couple months later, now then he died, and it's like, it's sad that that's what got to happen, for
everyone to wake up.
To wake up and see, like, nah, this ain't what's up. Because now you got other rappers saying, like, oh, nah, we off that. We ain't doing that no more,
Yeah,
but
they're all saying, well, if it's not weed, then we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people don't even realize that they addicts for real. And the weed is going to push you back to whatever, if that's the case. Not saying everybody, but, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I just met a guy that went through a program up here at the gym, and he's been going to like Elements, or he did back a few years ago, and they just get to a point where they're like, I can drink again. I've been sober for a couple years, and then they make that choice. I'm not that kind of a person. I know for the rest of my life that, like you said, I'm going to be allergic to those things, and you got to accept that. If you don't accept that,
that's just
then you're toying around with your life.
It's a stupid insanity that we just keep going through, thinking we can do it. Like there's no freaking way, not one time.
Yeah.
Like if I even go back to drinking, it's just gonna like tumble back down that same road.
Yeah, and it play tricks on me sometimes too, cause I think like, oh, well, I ain't never really been into drinking. Maybe I could drink later on down the line, but then I had to ask myself, like, I ain't never been into drinking. Why would I drink? Now to just take one, substitute one addiction for the next in my case, and then I'm scared to even find out, if I can do it or not, if I could just smoke weed or if I. So I like to keep that healthy fear of like, why even test it?
Not convincing yourself you're cured and nothing
No,
can.
never. I never
nothing
get
that you take
comfortable.
again can stop you from the good that you think that you have going for you, and it's never gonna get hindered. But yeah, I just remember taking. After I almost had a year sober, I took I found 2 Lortabs under the seat of a car my dad like gave to me, and because he had back surgery and they were just magically under there. I took 2 of them, and as soon as you feel them set in, then like you change, like we've talked about on here, Jekyll and Hyde, or you just turn into that other person that you don't want to be, and you got to actually work to get out of that, because you can't just stop. I mean, I remember right from the get, like right when I took them, when you feel them set in, then it's over.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of that now.
Yeah.
I'm aware of those mistakes that I made, and I know that I cannot fuck around with alcohol or weed, even if it wasn't my drug of choice.
Right, right.
Because as soon as that sets in and your brain does that little click, like as us addicts, then we know that it's over. And we worked so hard to get to this point,
I was just talking to you about this yesterday to you about like when we do the drug, the feeling that you get of like that relief and like how you are when you're around a lot of people. If you go out and you like, why can't we have that feeling without the alcohol? Like the feeling that you get like of when you're on weed or whatever it is, when you have those pills, you can still achieve that feeling. Like you can still.
Are you talking about like
the
what are you
feeling
talking about,
of
like the confidence, or
the confidence, the peace, like how you project yourself? Like if you're around people that are drinking, like, why can't you just go out and have fun, like, with them and not drink?
Right.
Like, you could still be in that same piece. They're just acting dumber, and you're just, like, being yourself.
Exactly.
And you could do it without that. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I've put myself in situations like that today. Like, I went out with this girl, and, you know, I had a great time. We had a bonfire and everything like that. Her and her friend were drinking, and, like, I had the same, like, high of, like, feeling as if I was drunk, but I wasn't drunk at all. Like, I felt fine. I felt, like, great. Because they were acting stupid, and if I say something stupid, they don't even know it, dude.
That's
just
funny
like,
that you say that, because what was this, November of last year, I went back home for my cousin's graduation party. You know, everybody there is smoking weed and drinking. I'm sober, but I had the best time ever. Like, because I was just around, like...
At first, it was kind of uncomfortable, right? Maybe a little bit. Like, I felt that, but, like, once you get into it...
Before I got there, I
yeah.
was not knowing what to expect. But once I got there, and the people I was around, like my homeboys back there is, like, some silly motherfuckers. So it's like... regardless of drunk or high, like, we just gonna laugh, you know. They get, you know, they do their thing, but it was just so fun though. Like, every picture I took, like, I'm just cheesing real hard, but it was genuine though, and I like the fact that I can feel like that, and
you could be yourself,
and it's me, you know. It's pure and genuine. Like, it's genuine happiness today, you know. And not saying that it's always all good. Like, I definitely still get nervous in situations, or, you know, my social anxiety kick in. But I done had a few experiences. Like, it was even another time, like, my girlfriend now, we was together back in high school, and I smoked a lot of weed in high school, and it was somebody who I always, like, had good chemistry with. So when we got back in touch, I asked her to go out on a date, and I was sober, and when we went on a date, it felt like genuine, you know what I'm saying? Like, without the weed, without any substance involved, and that just showed me, like, you know, I can still live my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't need nothing extra to, like, feel good.
Yeah, and we have our good days and our bad days on top of that too. So it's like we can't, like, bash ourselves just for, like, one bad day.
Exactly.
It's just a bad day.
Yeah, and it go away. Even like, I done had bad weeks, and but I have to keep in mind, like what it say in the big book, just this too shall pass, you know, and, like, that's something that I had to keep in mind on them bad days.
Did you guys learn about cognitive behavioral therapy and reflections, that triangle where your thoughts go to your emotions and then go to your actions, and it's just kind of like loops around or whatever? Once you realize that you have, like, control over your actions, and you use your second thought, or you take the emotion captive or the thought captive, see what's actually going on and kind of dig down. That's a part of the work that we've had to do for ourselves, and why we're able to go out and have fun without actually having to, because when we use drugs and alcohol, we had to use drugs and alcohol to have fun. We couldn't imagine having fun without any of those. Right. And it's weird how the grass is greener for those types of things. Not knocking on anyone that drinks alcohol or who isn't an addict or an alcoholic, but, like, when we went to that bar to go eat, and you know, we could sit there and have a good time and play the video games and laugh, and people need it as like a shield, or they need it to boost it, to have fun, and they're looking at us like, how could you be having so much fun when you're not drinking and not ordering anything? And then we're looking at them like, oh man, so, you know, you don't want to be like that, but you think sometimes, like, I wish I could just be normal, and chill at the bar here or whatever, you know? So it's like, it's that weird grass is greener effect. And it's crazy that we're actually able to get to the point that we're at right now and be able to go out and have fun, get up on stage, public speak. I was just at Elements, like, rapping on stage.
I heard about that. Yeah.
For, like, and I can't believe I would ever do that. I mean, I did it, but I was on drugs or alcohol before in the past when I lived in LA. But now the fact that I'm able to
tell us your rapper name.
Oh, it's Bruce Illis, like Bruce Willis.
that was when he was like,
that's cool.
How hard was the transition? Like, when you got out of Reflections, that you kept, like, because the second you get out, like, you have the choice to, like, do what you want, and then you were forced to do it before. So now you have to get out and, like, somehow you stay, like, connected. Like, that was the hardest part for me, was to, like, go to the meetings, like, on my own.
So, like I said, fellowship, taking suggestions, and basically, and service commitments is what kept me going. So while I was in treatment, I just prepared myself for after treatment. I bought a car while I was in treatment because I knew I wanted to sponsor guys after I got my steps done, and I knew I wanted to be able to, get around town and do that.
You sponsoring guys right now?
Yeah,
Cool.
yep. And then, got one back there.
What's up?
And then, as far as giving back, fellowship kept me going as far as going to meetings. I learned to I got involved with people who wasn't at my treatment center, just to be go to a meeting and feel comfortable. I would speak up at meetings, so people would know who I was. And I just put myself out there a lot. So getting out of treatment, the transition wasn't too bad because I still had a good support system outside of treatment. I also went, Reflections had an alumni program afterwards. So I was still staying there, and then I worked for Reflections for maybe 6 months, after treatment. And that's just, and that was where the suggestions came in. These was all things that people suggested for me to do, and I just listened, and it worked so far.
Yeah, we're so stuck in that isolated bubble of addiction where we know that we're gonna get the pills, we're gonna get high, where to do it at, we just kind of gain this routine of how our addiction was flowing every day. Once we get into recovery and we start stepping out and doing things that we wouldn't normally do, it's that comfort zone that we built for ourselves in our addiction. And once we get out of that, that's where you start seeing all the progress, stuff that you would think wouldn't have any impact on you being able to not take a pill or take a pill by going to a meeting. What the hell is a meeting gonna do when you're first new into it? Why going to this place would it do anything?
Right.
It's sitting there, but you were uncomfortable a little bit, and you start getting more and more comfortable with being uncomfortable. It turns into something that it just becomes routine, and you start just feeling better about yourself. Things start getting better.
Yeah.
There's a formula to this, to the recovery.
And I just had a lot of...
What we're talking about is how is getting...
Oh, dude,
I'll get a chalkboard up right here on the and I'll start writing out equations for you.
That's what I want to see right now. That's what they want to see.
I think for me too, like I said, I tried to put myself around the right people in in the beginning of my sobriety, to where my first sponsor when I got sober this time, he taught me how to move around in this town sober, and that helped me a lot, cause he kind of showed me I don't have to isolate, I can still enjoy my life. And I took a lot of pointers from him, from the things he did and the things he didn't do. It was times he would tell me about how he would slacked off in his recovery to where he was close to drinking, and he told me how he did that, and that taught me how not to do it. So I just try to take as much advice from the people that's getting it, and it helped me. That's what get me through a lot of things. I call, I pick up the phone today. I can pick up the phone. I don't have no problem with telling somebody I'm struggling today. Sometimes it might take a little while for me to make that call because I'm just playing everything in my head. But I learned when I reach out, it helps so much. Getting that stuff out, either putting it on paper, it's just getting it out, and it helped me.
Yeah.
So
being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Taking suggestions, just becoming somebody that you've never been before. And you look back on that old self and it doesn't even feel like that was you in a way,
Yo, and I swear, sobriety kind of turned me back into a kid. I enjoy going go-kart racing, playing laser tag. I want to go, it's the little things that we lose sight of as we get older, and how much fun that was. Once the drugs and the alcohol come into place, we at the bars and at the club. So we don't think about the
also in the boredom though too, right? When you're in the most boredom possible, you still have fun in that moment. Try to because it goes both ways. When you're in that boredom, dude, you can fall out and just be like, this sucks. I'm at work, whatever. Is this my life? You have to just look at it from a different view and just be everything. You get the opportunity to do the things you do.
Yeah.
And we have to look at everything differently that we do.
Yeah. I was just having a conversation about perspective. And
yeah.
That's what that's probably like the biggest thing in my recovery is the way my perspective changed over this time. And I will say too, like it's days when like I'm super busy. You know, like my week is super busy, and then on the weekends, because like I said, I'm a barber. I think that's a big thing in my sobriety is staying active. You know, staying either doing something just productive. And when I get a chance to not have to do nothing, I just love to chill. Like I love to be able to just sit on my couch, watch a movie, or just take a long nap. You know, on a Sunday. Like that is I enjoy that today. Like it's crazy. I used to get so pissed, like, oh, I'm bored. I need to go do something. But now I don't even know what bored is half the time, which keep me going. You know, it benefit me a lot. And I guess having just like a healthy balance of it. You know, not overdoing it, and then not just sitting to myself for too long. Also,
That's the huge struggle, like in people's like recovery is like once you cross that line into that fun zone of like doing drugs, parties, girls, chicks, like all the shit that you get on the other side, we just connect that with the drug.
Yeah.
And then once we stop, we have that boredom, and it's just like a freaking like beyond belief boredom that we get. So
Boredom was the killer, man. Like you can't even imagine sitting on the couch watching TV without something in you. Like
Right,
you know, like,
right.
Yeah,
what's so like today, like what is your like struggle at 1 year? Like what do you have right now that you're still struggling with?
Oh, let me think. I would definitely say like time management for sure. So like I'm in a transition state from one job to another, so it's like just balance right now. It's hard for me right now to balance work with sponsees, with extracurricular activities, and getting enough rest. You know, like
Yeah.
So the stress could be somehow a trigger for maybe you start thinking about drugs anymore if you do, you know?
Yeah, it could definitely push me off the edge if I let it. But now that I'm aware of what's going on, now it's like I gotta take the action to change it. I talked to my sponsor about these things, you know, and it helped me. But no, I can't sit here and act like I wouldn't like to take a drink after a long day of work, you know.
Yeah,
but
it's like a reward.
Yeah,
like, dude,
but
I did this. Like I did this good.
I just
and
know where that go. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? And I don't think I'm sober today because I just don't want to get hard drunk. It's just because I know what what I got going on for me. You know.
Yeah, you
if
don't
I
want to
stay
lose
sober.
that.
You know what
Like
I'm
it's
saying?
not worth it anymore.
And it's not even the material, things or the work aspect. It's just like where my mind is today. Like I said, my perspective on life is like it just did a 180. Since through this process.
Yeah, thank God.
So good advice to the normies out there. Work the steps because it could change your life too. And people that's struggling right now in their addiction or fresh in treatment or whatever, like just find a sense of purpose and just move. Keep going. That's all I got.
Yeah, you got a year now. Looking back, John, what do you think advice
Dude,
you
I
could
went
give?
I went from like almost killing myself to like I'm not gonna make it, like when I went through treatment. And like today where I'm at right now is just like insane. Like I can't even think about it, but like all I can say is it's possible for people out there. But I think right now, like what I'm struggling with today is like my emotions, like just dealing with them like sober is like a huge thing for me. Like I'm having to deal with everything sober, like, and then I have like my old mind, the way I thought, like all the negative thoughts going through your head, and just hitting rewind and play, like sitting in my thoughts, and that was like a horrible thing. And like now I'm able to like depict like what's not real and what's real in my head.
Yeah.
Like the evil thoughts, and then you have the positive thoughts. So I'm able to like stop all my thoughts in my process and only think positive. Like that's a huge thing in me. And then like I'm getting more into the Bible and stuff like that, and I'm learning that between like the difference between your soul and your flesh. If you like stay in your spirit, say you wake up in the morning and you say I'm tired, you don't want to get out of bed. Like if you get out of that and you get into your spirit, like don't feel what your flesh feels. Do what your spirit says, and like your body will follow that.
Yeah.
Like if you're not tired and you just say you're not tired, you're not going to be tired.
I feel
You
that.
just keep going with it, and like it's gonna help you out every single day. But I'm learning, like, dude, it's like an ongoing process for me. So,
and that's why I won't let it stop. I gotta just
but
keep on
other
going.
than that, everything's good, man.
That was good, John. I'm proud of you. Proud of you for having a year. And thank you, Tyrone, for showing up on the show here because you did great, man. This was a great episode, and I think a lot of people out there are going to take some of the advice you said and relate to it. And, we're just trying to help people here on Recuv Hub. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Another fantastic episode, an adventure of Recuv Hub, and we'll see you guys next time.